Hello, everybody, and welcome back to From BA to Broadway. Guess who it is? It's me, your host, Mr. Brennan Stefanik, and today I am joined by the one and the only Mr. Gabriel Kearns. What's going on, Gabriel?
You know what? I'm doing great today. I'm here, and I haven't seen you in so long.
I was going to
so
say,
this is cool.
literally, so happy to have you. Haven't seen you in probably 5 years.
It has been 5 years.
Literally in person, probably 5 years.
I think the other week I did see you crossing the street in this area.
And you didn't say hi?
You were literally over yonder.
Unacceptable.
I was like, that's Brendan. That's totally Brendan. Oh my goodness.
Amazing. Well, how did we meet, first of all? Let's just go right off of that.
I mean, literally 5 years ago.
We did.
Theater by the Sea.
Theater by the Sea.
It was during Newsies, right? Because you didn't do Singing in the Rain, did you?
I was in the shop during Singing in the Rain.
Oh, you were in the shop. That's what it was.
I came in at the very end of the first show, whose name I don't even remember. It was.
I don't remember either.
It was a new show. I think it's for the best. I don't know.
That's okay.
Woof. And then I was in the shop for Newsies and Singing in the Rain.
Okay.
And then I was around more for Newsies, and then I took on backstage wardrobe for Saturday Night Fever.
Yes, that is correct.
And yeah, that was 5 years ago. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That was the first thing I ever did out of college was that. That was like my first gig, which was nice. It was a nice little summer gig.
I was dead set on getting that contract specifically to work with Kelly Barclay and Charlie Sutton.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, this is what I want. I'm getting it, and that's why I said no to all that other stuff I was saying.
Amazing.
I'm like, this is the one that I wanted.
I love that for you.
It
And
was a
honestly,
good time.
what a great place to be for the summer.
It was great. It really was.
What I would give to just be by the beach getting paid again.
I miss those oysters.
I'm
It's just called Oyster Bar.
Yeah.
If you're ever in Rhode Island, folks, Oyster Bar. That's literally what it's called. It's on the water.
See, I grew up in New England, and I don't like seafood, which was...
Wait, where are
it's
you from?
Honestly,
I don't think I know where you're
problematic.
from.
I'm from small town Massachusetts. I'm like
Word.
right over the Rhode Island border, and all of my family came from Rhode Island and stuff. So
Okay.
practically Rhode Island. But yeah, it was kind of criminal, and whatever. I don't care. I love to be controversial.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Gabriel, who are you, and what do you do?
So hi everyone, I'm Gabriel Kearns. I am originally from Houston, Texas. I live in New York now, but I am a dancer, an actor, and singer, and I'm a photographer,
Oh my God.
professional photographer.
That's so crazy. You'll never guess what we're talking about today.
Oh, what are we talking about?
Headshots.
Please. Oh my
Can you
gosh.
believe?
What?
Oh my God. It's almost like I
Headshots.
did that on purpose. My friend, did you go to school for theater?
I did. I went to Montclair State University.
Awesome.
I
That's
got my
a BFA, right?
BFA in musical theater.
Rock and
Yup.
roll.
It was great. It was right over the river,
Yeah.
basically, in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, 55-minute train ride,
Amazing.
half-hour bus ride.
Love.
So coming into the city and then moving here was like no problem at all.
Amazing. That's a nice little transition there.
Yeah, got to meet a lot of cool people and then see a lot of cool shows that I probably wouldn't have seen if I
Amazing.
ended up going to TCU or something.
Yeah,
which I
yeah,
did
yeah.
get accepted to their
What does the C stand for?
Texas Christian University.
Christian University.
Yeah, huge.
Heard.
My one of my cousins goes there now actually, but they only take in 4 boys and 4 girls.
What?
That is what their program is.
For the theater program
The
specifically?
musical theater program. Yeah,
Crazy. How do you do shows like that?
I have no clue
Interesting.
because I think they have acting as well, and
Okay.
then maybe like other departments and
Wild.
other members of the arts department can. I ended up having a couple of friends the year above me go there
Okay.
for musical theater, but they never really shared their experience.
Wow. Interesting.
Very interesting.
Okay. Well,
I wouldn't have changed anything.
Yeah.
Honestly, like Montclair was so great.
that's great. I love that for you.
Yeah, I had a good time.
And now you're out and you're working and you're doing
Yeah.
the thing.
It's
like
been great.
hardcore. What was that last thing you were in?
I did Elvis back in October,
Mm-hmm.
but the big thing right before that, I did the pre-Broadway for the Who's Tommy.
Who's Tommy?
Yeah.
And that was in Chicago.
Chicago,
See how I
Yeah.
did that? Nice. Rock and roll.
No, literally.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I did not go with it to Broadway, but that's okay.
And you know what? That happens sometimes.
Yeah, no,
and-
totally. I have so many friends who, whether it was The Great Gatsby or
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Outsiders or Tommy, so many friends who just didn't end up going with it, but that doesn't mean, like, I know I am in very good standing with the team still.
Amazing.
So, for anything else that might happen in the future,
Yeah.
I'm very confident about it.
Amazing.
And, I'm super close to the cast still.
Yeah.
Literally fan
there's
for life right
so
there.
So much freaking stuff that goes into those decisions. And
100. And after I saw it 2 weeks ago, one of the previews, and I'm like, I get it.
Yeah.
I get the need, because my director, the one and only Des McAnuff, called
Shout
me
out.
personally the day that I left for North Shore.
Mm-hmm.
So honestly, the best time to get that call.
Of course,
because I was
of
going
course.
to start another job. But he kind of broke down what he needed for Broadway, for my track specifically, and I'm like, I get it.
Yeah.
And honestly, after him saying that, it kind of lit a fire under my butt
It'll do that.
to get certain things that I can control
Yeah.
up.
Are you equity right now?
I am
Okay.
now.
Heard.
After Elvis joined the union, and it's been a tough audition season.
Yeah.
I do have something lined up for the summer.
Love.
Uh,
Are you allowed to say what it is?
I think so. I have a big mouth, so
I mean, just do it. And
I'm going to the Muni.
If I cut it out, you're going to the Muni.
I'm going to the Muni. I'm gonna be
Whoa.
in Dreamgirls.
That's crazy.
I'm pumped.
Good for you, man.
I'm really really excited.
Congrats. Yeah, look into that. Let me know if I need to cut that out.
I think it's fine.
Who cares?
It didn't say anything on the offer, so
Love. There you go. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Well, y'all in Illinois? Is that where that is?
St. Louis,
St. Louis.
St. Louis.
Which is Missouri.
Missouri.
Oof,
Yeah,
that's a big...
it's about 5 hours from Chicago, but it's only a 20-minute drive to the Illinois border.
Oh, okay, wild.
'Cause-
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wasn't far off.
I
Honestly,
stayed with my girlfriend's mom when I went to go audition for them.
Nice.
Her mom drove me around. It was great.
Okay, well, y'all, if you're in the area, go see Dreamgirls.
100%.
Anywho, you're gonna notice that I often go on to tangents on
Oh,
this
me too.
podcast,
I'm
so we're
super
gonna do our
ADD.
best, and we're gonna see how we freaking get through this.
I love it.
So my friend, you are also a headshot photographer.
Yes.
How'd you get into that?
So I remember it was during the pandemic.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, right. I had COVID.
Gotcha.
I say I had Corona light because I
Heard.
only lost my sense of taste and smell.
Oh, okay.
And so
Nice.
I was just in bed to not get, my mom was getting over, she was recovering from cancer surgery.
Heard.
So I didn't want to be near her.
Yep.
I don't want to get anyone sick. So I was locked in my
Yeah,
room.
yeah.
I was scrolling on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw a friend of mine's photo on Instagram. And it was taken by John Taylor, the one and only John Taylor. One of my biggest inspirations to start photography. And I just wanted to know the science behind it. I wanted to know, okay, how can John make this photo look like this?
Yeah.
And then I have, other people that I know, who want to start photography. Like, what's the difference? Like,
Yeah.
is it the camera? Is it lighting? Is it lenses? Turns out it's all of the above.
Yeah.
As well as some other meticulous things within the camera that I'm such a nerd about it now. So I won't go too much into that. But after that, I wanted to take a photography course online. I'm like, okay, no one's doing dance classes online yet.
Yeah.
I didn't start doing my voice lessons again online yet. So I'm like, I got nothing to do. I started the keto diet and I was working out.
Oh, wow.
That's all I was doing.
Amazing.
And I was like, okay, let me look up a course. And I
Yeah.
found it. It's literally called the School of Photography.
Okay.
It's based out of the UK. And I paid $13.90
Nuh-uh.
for the month.
Nuh-uh.
And in that month, I crammed how to properly use a camera, how to properly, choose lenses and the science behind lenses, how to use Adobe Lightroom and Adobe Photoshop.
Amazing.
And after that month, I canceled my subscription and just went to YouTube tutorials.
That's amazing.
And that's
Oh
how
my
I did it.
God.
And so for the entire month of April, I was just walking around my house, indoors and outdoors, taking pictures, trying to figure out how to make the background blurry or like the foreground blurry.
Yeah.
Which that was cool when I figured that out. I'm like mind blown. I instantly know how John made that shot the way he did.
So
It
you
was
really
great.
you really came right out of the pandemic rocking and rolling.
Oh yeah, because
Nice.
once we were able to kind of hang out with people again, I was like, okay, well I've only done outdoor photography,
Yep.
and I'm a dancer. Why don't I call up my dancer friends and be like, hey, let me just take some dance photos of you
Yeah.
guys. So it started out with some of my great dancer friends in Texas, and then I came back here because my restaurant job opened up outdoor dining again, and I went back to work here. I was literally in Texas for like 3 months,
Heard.
and then I came back here in June, and just literally whenever I wasn't working at the restaurant, I was biking throughout Manhattan, either taking photos of the Brooklyn Bridge, taking photos of like the New Jersey skyline from over where I live, and then just like meeting up with certain dancer friends. You remember Darren MacArthur?
Of course.
He was my first paid client,
God,
actually.
Darren, miss you.
Yeah, I miss you, buddy.
Damn.
We did a shoot over in Chelsea.
Rock and roll.
And he was so amazing. He's so talented. He is such a talented dancer.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh shoot, I wish I could take a photo of him now compared to what I did back then, because back then I was like I was so into Lightroom and Photoshop that I was like changing colors and doing all this stuff, and it was funky. He was amazing. What I was doing was not great.
Hey,
but I started out doing portrait and dance photography, and I didn't even get into headshot photography until like 2 years ago. About you know what it was? I got into headshot photography right before I went on the Hairspray tour.
Gotcha. So
this is summer of 2021. Summer of 2021, because I came back from a contract and I was like, oh shoot, I don't want to go back to the restaurant before I go on tour. So what am I gonna do? Let me just all like the money is in headshots. And so that's kind of like what pays the rent right there. My like passion is dance photography through and through. Like,
nice.
Yeah, it's like my roots right there.
That's awesome.
But honestly, I've kind of grown to love and adore headshot photography.
Of course,
mostly because I really get to meet the coolest people. I mean, obviously, I meet the coolest people in dance as well. Yeah. But with headshot photography, I really get to dive into people's like thoughts about like their own self and their brand quote unquote. Like their artistry, if you will. Because that's how I like to kind of set up my whole shoot. Is we spend like the first 20 minutes to 30 minutes talking about my client, like you. And just like chatting it up, because there's no weirder thing than walking into a photo shoot and feeling like sterile. Like let's pick your clothes. Now you go sit there, and now I'm gonna shine a bunch of lights in your face, and I want you to smile at the same time.
Literally,
like that's so weird, and it's so vulnerable also, because now you're using the headshot. So for people who don't really know what a headshot is,
break it down. Go into it.
Is basically, I mean, it's what it sounds like. It's a picture of your face for casting to use as a reference, because you can give them your resume, but theater is such a visual medium and a visual art,
of course, that
they're going to need to know what you look like. So you give them a nice 8 by 10 piece of paper with your face on it. And that one picture can quite literally decide if you even get to audition or whatever.
Isn't that amazing?
It's honestly crazy
how they just love to do that.
But like the headshot is, I always say it's casting's first impression of you.
I mean, yeah, of course.
And I remember I heard this from one photographer, and it honestly makes so much sense. Whenever you meet someone for the first time, you never want to lift your chin and look at them, because in headshots we all like to lift our chin for some reason, and so I'm always gonna be like chin down. Why? Because you want to look like you're making eye contact with casting through your shot. Because and I had a professor say this: if you take a piece of paper and cover your headshot from the nose down, and you only see the eyes, if there's nothing behind the eyes, if there's no intention behind the eyes, the rest of the shot's not going to matter.
Interesting.
I was taking my own headshots. Like my girlfriend was taking pictures of me.
Yeah.
And I was looking at them, and I'm like, my smile is great, but my eyes are dead. So all I did was just like a slight lift in my eyebrows, and really focused on like maintaining eye contact through the camera. And that changed so much, which was very cool. So like the headshot is like, like I was saying, it's your first impression on casting. And you always want to make the best first impression, because sometimes you don't get a second.
And like also they're seeing so many people, especially nowadays.
Oh my
there's
gosh,
God knows how many people, and you gotta take every single freaking opportunity that you can get to make that mark.
Yeah, it's all very, very interesting.
What a crazy season it's been.
It has been a very crazy season.
Yeah.
So much is going on Broadway right now. So much is about to go on tour.
Also that.
It's like, I think like we're back. We're back. And what's cool is that we have a lot of new stuff.
A lot of new stuff
on Broadway, like brand new concepts, like
which is so nice.
Like there's Hell's Kitchen, which is completely new. I was about to say Water for Elephants, but I forgot that was a movie.
That was
totally a movie.
I've heard it's great though.
I have heard it's great too.
Yeah. I mean, I also nowadays I don't go to see anything without a rush ticket or a lottery ticket or a comp ticket or something. But like, regardless, there's a lot of options nowadays, and I think it's gonna be a nice summer.
I think so too.
You know?
Yeah.
And who knows? We'll be there very soon.
I'm pretty sure my buddy's about to be nominated for a Tony, and
Isn't that crazy?
My friend Ali, who's playing Tommy in the Broadway revival of the Who's Tommy, he's so freaking good. I'm like, I think he's about to be nominated. That's
seriously. That's always the most surreal.
If not, I'm gonna be mad about
it. I'm like, when your like friends are there and you're like, you're just a twerp. Like I know you for how long, and you're just a little twerp, and you're about to get a Tony Award.
I remember
joking
in Chicago, we would joke about like we make Star Wars references.
Oh yeah.
During the World War II flashback in the opening.
Oh no.
And there's us making Star Wars video game references. It's very niche Star Wars references. But I'm like, you're such a dork, bro.
Yeah.
And you're so good.
Yeah.
Seriously, he's fantastic. But I mean, the cool thing is that I have a couple of headshots in Broadway playbills now. Which are great. Like I have one, Tommy, Harry Potter.
Oh no way.
Aladdin.
Amazing.
Aladdin.
Who in Harry Potter?
My friend Kalea.
I know Kalea. I was about to
Kalea?
say.
Oh, you do know
like,
Kalea.
I just processed it. I was like, no, she was in the Hairspray tour.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Shout out to Kalea. She's coming on soon-ish. We gotta work out scheduling.
No way. Tell her I say hi.
Oh, duh.
I haven't seen her since her debut. Me and my girlfriend went to go see her debut, and she was fabulous.
Of course she is.
Yeah.
Oh my God, she rocks.
So proud.
Oh my God. Anywho.
Yes.
Headshots. What's like the difference between an acting headshot and a headshot for any other Muggle job?
So I mean, I guess
in your opinion, I would say.
I guess acting headshots, they're definitely meant to showcasing your abilities before you even walk in the room.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I always say that I always want headshots to have the most variety behind them.
Heard.
You know, so I guess if you were to have a business headshot or like a doctor headshot, you know, you'd have your arms crossed.
Of course.
And, you know, you're just smiling.
Yeah.
You're cheesing for the camera. Mm-hmm. Or like a real estate picture. You're like, I'm friendly. Come buy a house and then pay me commission.
Of course.
And then, you know, you have dance headshots, like dance specific headshots, like ballet are typically like shoulder up, which honestly, I'm not too sure why. If I had to pull an answer out of my butt right now, it would probably just be like just to kind of show frame.
Heard.
Because you also have like dance shots that you'd be using, because I think typically for like female identifying and women, definitely they're like shoulder up and typically like bare skinned, or like a nude, you know, matching their skin tone leotard for like the dance, like commercial dance or like ballet headshots.
Yeah.
But I've noticed that with acting specifically, I'll talk about theater for this part, people are really getting into the trend of doing like waist up headshots.
Interesting.
Now it's becoming more of a thing. I definitely think like Justin Patterson kind of paved the way for that.
Okay.
Making his headshots like that.
I guess now that I think about it, one of my headshots is kind of from like at least like mid-drift.
Yeah. I try to give everyone a variety, because if we do like, you know, that more full-bodied headshot, you can always crop it.
Of course.
You know? But then typically a headshot, I would say, is like chest up.
Yeah. It was also like, I mean, like coming out of college too, like I was still like in Massachusetts. I was still in the small town area. So like when I was like thinking about headshots, it was like hard to like find what was right. Pardon me, I'm about to burp.
Go ahead.
This is a pro burp podcast. Oh,
nice.
It disappeared. Sorry. Anyways, sorry everyone.
Isn't that how it always goes down?
Maybe next time. It was hard. Like most people like didn't know anything about acting headshots and had only done like corporate professional headshots. There it is.
Oh, it sounded so good with the mics and the sound and the interface.
And crisp. Thank you.
That was very crisp.
I'm very talented. Yeah, it was like, I don't know. It was just like a bunch of corporate people and stuff. And like, I don't know. I also didn't really know the difference at that point. So like I had a bunch of like Joe Schmo headshots back in the day, which like I feel like is a part of the journey.
Totally. I would say, you know, for the like, if you want to talk about aesthetic with corporate and acting headshots, lighting has everything to do with it.
Yeah.
Typically for like TV and film, I would kind of try and mimic a film set. lighting style, usually with like some side lights, some overhead lights to kind of make the subject or client pop from the background.
Gotcha.
Because I like doing my headshots indoors. I
Okay.
can control it. It's cleaner that way. I can
Yeah.
manipulate light however I want to. But there's a lot of TV film headshots that are usually done outdoors.
Yeah.
And I guess it's partially to mimic a film set, which is usually outdoors.
Yeah. And it's always in front of a brick wall, and they're always wearing a leather jacket.
Always. Oh, you're so right. That's Law and Order of you right there.
That's exactly right.
That's so long. Which honestly, I do need to get some of that in my portfolio. I really
do. I've been also like trying to get some background work lately, which like all of a sudden is like so hard to get. Which is something I've never really experienced anymore. But like I keep on getting availability requests, and I'll get like 5 or 6 a week. Nothing's coming through. I'm like, this is insane.
That's crazy.
But I have a pending Law and Order one right now for Monday, and I'm like, I just need to make that money, but also I just want to be there again.
Yeah, it's like be on set, you know.
Yeah. Oh,
but like with
good times.
with theater theater headshots, typically I notice that the backdrops are super close to the actor, which I never understood why that's the norm and that's the difference.
Yeah.
But apparently that's the norm and that's the difference, and that is what I've been doing.
There you go.
And that is how I have been, working
if
on
it ain't broke,
exactly, and
don't do something else.
It's gotten me a lot of cool work.
There you go. Okay, so I mean, yes, when you're coming out of college, but like, is there any point within that you think you should be getting your first headshots and stuff?
I think
or
going into college.
Okay, heard.
Definitely going into college. I just worked with this girl and her mom. They were great, and she was going into her audition prep. I'm pretty sure she's probably heard by now. I kind of want to reach out to them because
call her right now.
Oh, should I call her?
No, absolutely
Patricia,
not.
What's up? But she is 17, 18 years old, going into college, and she came to me for headshots.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is brilliant of you. I remember when I was auditioning for colleges, that's when I got my first real professional headshots done by a headshot photographer in Texas. And I realized the difference between so many headshots that I saw just shows that you're serious.
Heard.
And, but obviously there's a lot of extenuating circumstances.
Of course, yeah.
I literally was just on Instagram, and 2 very well-known Broadway dancers, their brothers, booked their first Broadway show with headshots that their mom took of them in front of like a gas station brick wall.
Amazing.
Now, I'm not going to call them out right now because I don't know them personally, but they're both also phenomenal dancers. They're just their talent speaks for themselves.
Heard.
And at the time they were like, we just need a shot.
Of course.
So if that's all you can do, at least you have something.
Yeah.
But once you get into it, investing in like a good headshot photographer and some decent quality headshots could be the difference.
Yeah.
Obviously there's a lot of extenuating circumstances when it comes to the director's vision
100%
of who and casting's vision of who they want.
Yeah.
But it's the first tool in your tool belt.
Love.
When it comes to your career, like physical,
I mean, yeah, and like also, I mean, if anyone's listening to this podcast right now, I'm gonna say you are now qualified to get some good headshots, just because like coming out of high school, like we didn't really have theater education. We didn't have anything like that. Like we had a drama club, and that was like my only theater experience prior to college. So like I applied to one single BFA program, and I got the audition notice, and I didn't even know how to prepare, so I didn't go.
Sure.
I didn't even go. So like that was just like a whole ball game that I did not understand going into it. So I just kind of didn't do it. I didn't do it. But yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons that we're here, is to kind of just like get that out into the ether, and then like I don't know, especially like all the people in small towns right now, like I hope that when your little high school comes around to a close, that you feel prepared to go out for those BFAs and whatnot. And yeah, that's kind of, I mean, let's freaking level that playing field. That's kind of why we're here.
100%.
But yeah, I mean, going into college, absolutely brilliant. I mean, let's see. I think I was probably, I might have been going into sophomore year when I finally was like, let me get a professional picture taken of me. You know,
This is in college or in high school?
College.
In college.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. Oh my God, high school. I didn't even start acting in high school until my junior year. That was
Okay.
That was the beginning of my whole journey.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it wasn't until then that I finally was like, you know what, I should have this. And I called a friend that took photos, and I think I paid her $40, and she took some stuff. And you know,
I know
that's how
some
it
people
goes.
who still use their headshot from, I guess it was our junior year of college,
Wild.
that our senior friend had taken of them. I'm pretty sure they still use it to this day.
And do they look the same?
Not even close.
No.
Not even close. I'm like,
No,
what?
no, no,
What are
no.
you doing? You know me now, and you know the deals that I offer.
Yeah.
You know, every month.
Mhm.
Why are you doing this to yourself?
You know, sometimes you got to live in those glory days.
100%. 100%.
Literally me, as I was just telling you about my health insurance
Yeah.
fiascos. I'm like literally an elderly
Yeah.
man. It's great. It's great. We love it.
Absolutely.
So, okay. You're like coming out of the gate. How much should you be looking to spend on headshots in your opinion? Or like throughout the course of your journey, like how do you think that should look and evolve?
That honestly, that's the age-old question.
Heard.
That's the age-old photography question, just like in general. I mean, obviously, we all live in New York City.
Yeah.
Well, you know, we do here. If you're listening, you might not live in New York City,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
us who live in New York City, it's the most expensive place to live, like, in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Fact check me on that, but I'm pretty sure I'm right.
I believe it. As someone who lives here, I'm
Yeah.
gonna verify that officially.
Like,
You heard it from me.
If not, it's definitely in the top 5.
Mm-hmm.
And so you kind of need to adjust. I mean, that's why drinks at bars cost so much.
Yeah.
And that's why things just cost more here.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got to make a living.
Yep.
You know, some people have to support families. I know one headshot photographer who it's him and his wife, and that is their business, and they need to support their family too.
Yeah.
So when you come to New York, expect to be paying a pretty penny for some headshots, but you
Yep.
know that if you're actually going to be paying that much, you will be getting quality work
For sure.
from very, very experienced photographers
Yeah.
who know what they're doing.
It's definitely a pay-to-play thing, especially here. Like, the more you're
Unfortunately,
paying,
yeah.
the better quality it's going to be. That's just kind of the name of the game.
Now-
In anything, not even
Oh,
just
yeah.
headshots.
Mhm.
Grocery stores, which is atrocious.
That's
but
why I
that's
only
a
go to
different
Trader.
story.
I try to only go to Trader Joe's,
Same
but
here.
whenever I'm like yesterday, it was raining. It was disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go to the food market down the street just because I need some avocados.
Yep.
And now I gotta wait for them to ripe.
$20 later.
Yep.
Oh, and they're never ripe.
They're never ripe.
Never ripe.
They're never ripe. Neither are bananas.
Nope.
I'm like, hey, but you know what? They were from Ecuador, so I'm like, I gotta support my people right there.
There you go.
And so, price wise for headshots, and this is my own, and I don't know if it's self-deprecating or not. But it's just
mean-
my own joke. I always say that I'm the budget option here in New York.
Heard.
But my main reason why I charge so little is because I, one, am also a performer, so
Yeah.
I'm always in and out of the city, which means that whenever I come back to New York, part of me always has to kind of rebuild my momentum
Understood.
and just get it ramped up again. So that's honestly been the tough part when it comes to me raising my prices.
Yeah.
Like, I'm probably not going to raise my prices for the rest of the year.
Heard.
And then we'll see what happens, like, next audition season. But, you know, like, I just got back to the city in November.
Mm-hmm.
And so picking up into audition season, I wasn't going to jack my prices up right away.
Yeah.
Because also the amount of people who are coming to me has slowed down.
Heard.
You know, like I was saying, I have to rebuild everything.
Yeah.
So because of that, I charge less than most very good headshot photographers.
Yes.
I mean, I'm now at the point to where I can say with confidence I'm a very good headshot photographer.
Yeah, you are.
Who charges way too little for my product.
Heard.
I'll admit that. Part of why I do it, obviously, to get my business back up whenever I come back into town, and two, because a lot of people are charging a lot of money for this, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I know that, you know, for headshot refreshers or like for a quick little, oh hey, I just need a couple looks. I have a couple look packages
Yeah.
for, you know, X amount of money. I'm like, I know that I'm gonna get a lot of people,
Yep.
and it adds up. It
does,
really does.
for sure.
You know, eventually I want to get to the point to where I can charge a little bit more and then work a little less.
Of course.
But I'm just not in that position right now.
Yeah.
And
I mean, yeah, it's also tough when
Yeah.
you're traveling around, and it's
Totally.
it's tricky to. I know it's also tough to feel like you have the home base too, which is just a whole nother component of it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
And you know, photography is just like art in general. Photography is also an art, and art is subjective.
Of course.
one person might not like one photographer's aesthetic
Yeah.
and might end up paying more because they like a different photographer's aesthetic.
Yeah.
And I've seen that happen.
For sure.
I think like 2 clients ago, like 2 in a row, clients that I had came to me because they had worked with a photographer and they were like, I don't like what I got.
Yeah.
I wasn't having a good time. Mm-hmm. The shots don't look like me. Mm-hmm. Fix it.
Yeah.
Basically fix it. And I know for a fact that photographer costs more than I do. Mm-hmm. At this point in my career, I know what everyone charges.
For sure.
We all know
what
we all charge. We have technology.
Of course.
And so I wouldn't say there's like a set price point of what you need to pay, but also if you pay like $50 for headshots, you're gonna get a $50 headshot.
100%.
You know,
I feel like, I mean, in general, I feel like it's gonna. I mean, you're gonna be spending several $100s at the gate to get a good professional headshot. You're gonna be spending several hundred, so just be prepared for that.
But if you have a good one, it should last you.
There you go. Also,
it should last you.
Also that, but there's also components that come into that you yourself have to do. For example, Gabriel, what are you wearing?
What are you wearing? Okay, that is I love that question. And
Gabriel, what are you wearing?
I'm wearing the same
khakis.
brand actually. I'm wearing khakis and a black T-shirt, both from the same company.
Wow.
But let's see, what do you wear in headshots? I always like to say, wear the least distracting thing, and also the simplest thing.
Yep.
Like a T-shirt and a jacket, or a T-shirt and a flannel can go a long way.
100%.
You know, you don't need the fun sweater that has like, you know, 1,000 colors on it.
The more things that there are to look at.
Exactly. And it's not about the clothes.
No.
It's about the actor.
Exactly.
You know, it's about, you know, it's not even about the actor. It's about the acting. Mm-hmm. It's about the acting and the intention behind your eyes in the photos, in the headshots. I always, and I said this earlier, you know, I try and get all my shots to be like a variety. I try to get the most variety in all my looks.
Yep.
Whether that has to do with acting and facial expressions, or with lighting, or with clothes. You know, like let's say we only had to work with like T-shirts. Yeah. You know, depending on the color of the shirt, you can, you know, change lighting and change the background, and then change posture and change body positioning and obviously facial expression. And if we have like 3 T-shirts from like Hanes that are all different colors, you can definitely like make something with that.
Of course, yeah.
You know, you don't need the most extravagant things when it comes to headshots, because it's not about the clothes.
And should you be bringing several options?
You should 100% be bringing several options.
Awesome.
The reason for that is if you have 3 looks, that's what you're paying for. I have 3 looks. And you bring 3 options, yeah, we're definitely going to be able to work with them. Yeah. But one of them just might not be great. Yeah. One of them might be just too much, and like it just won't work.
And folks, there's a good chance it's going to be your favorite one. So prepare for that.
Prepare, and typically, you know, if you're packing, you're like, oh, I'll just throw this in here. Yeah. Typically, that's always the one that we're gonna pick.
100%.
It's every time. It's happened so many times where I'm like, I love this, and they're like, really? I just threw that in there. I'm like, no, we're using that.
Absolutely.
100%. And like literally in my prep email, I say bring at least like 3 T-shirts and a jacket, because there are so many different character types and looks that can be built off of those things.
Of course.
But yeah, always bring the most variety, and the simpler is better.
Yeah, I definitely I said that because once again, when I went for my last round of headshots, my favorite thing that I brought that I was like, this is a surefire. There's no way he's not gonna like it. That was first off the chopping block. I was like,
Do you mind me asking who did your last headshots?
Yeah, Ted Ellie.
Ted Ellie. I love Ted Ellie's work. I love it so much.
That was like, I don't know, it was just so much fun. Like that was the thing. That was my biggest takeaway, is that I was like, I know this is going to be good because I had a freaking blast.
I'm so glad that you said that. Yeah. Because, you know, we were talking about that a little bit earlier, just about how I love to just, you know, have the person come in, and for the first 20 to 30 minutes, we're talking about you, and we're just shooting the shit, you know? We're getting to know each other because you want it to be fun, you know? Yeah. I mean, we're both actors too, so we understand everything that our clients are going through, you know? And so no one likes to come into a sterile environment
No.
and then you're forced to be vulnerable with a person that you've never met before.
Yeah.
It's with me, I always try and find at least one person in common that I know, because this business is so small.
Yeah.
I know there's going to be at least one person.
Of course.
So I ask so many questions, and then when I find that one person, boom,
There you go.
like we are in it.
There you go.
And then from there, you get the person in front of the camera, and you're just having a good time.
Yeah, and like also like it's I don't know. It's when you're having a good time, it's easier to be yourself, which then conveys who you are.
Yeah.
And like also it goes back to what we were saying before about like quote unquote branding. Like you are trying to develop, like at the end of the day, we are products, you know, which is weird to say, but also like it can be very empowering when you know the product that you are and what you have to offer, you know? So
100%.
So when you're able to authentically do that and the environment just naturally creates that, it takes so much more work off of you, you know?
It also takes more work off of like us as the photographer, because we're able to like pull out the acting stuff that we need, because obviously it's a headshot, which means that you're going to be acting in it. It's not like a branding shoot where you're there to be you.
Yeah.
Like you're there to be you to an extent. This is you as the lead, or this is you as the best friend, or this is you as the dancer ensemble person, or this is I could go on.
And like folks, we're gonna be talking in a future episode specifically about branding, and there will also be one about types and typecasting and all of that kind of jazz and stuff. So don't stress too much if you're sitting here being like, I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
We'll take care of that.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like every episode, no matter what the topic is, it always boils down to be yourself.
Yeah.
You know, like auditions, be yourself. Resumes, be yourself. All of that stuff. It's just be yourself, folks. That's what you gotta do.
And honestly, I didn't fully understand that be yourself thing until I got out of college.
Yeah.
Like even in college, and I remember auditioning for 4 colleges, going like introducing myself to these people. I'm like, who am I right now?
Yeah.
I sound like a robot.
Exactly.
Like that's not me.
I mean, also like, especially with the college stuff, like that is your time to also like find yourself. Like those are those formative years where you're like, I don't know who I am. Like I'm being thrust into all these new environments. I don't know how I fit into that. So like, it can be very daunting, but at the end of the day, it kind of just boils down to what are the things that you love the most in life, and how does that relate to who you are as a person, you know? And that's kind of the key to figuring those things out and how to bring that. That was very deep and philosophical. Wow. Sorry, everyone.
That's why
actually
we're here.
Not
That's
sorry.
Why we're here.
That was
not
good
sorry.
advice.
That's why we're here, right?
Yeah. Okay. So you got your several options that you're bringing. What else should you be doing to prepare prior to a headshot session?
It's a great question. Hydrate.
Hydrate.
The skin is so important.
Yeah.
Because I remember being on tour, and I remember it was specifically the month of February on tour.
Oh, of course.
Because we were in the north. We were just in the not even northeast, just the north, and we were out every night.
Yep.
Drinking.
Of course.
Not drinking enough water.
As you do.
And you do that for like 2 weeks in a row, and then you have to send in a self-tape.
Yeah.
And you look back at the tape, and I look like a raccoon.
Literally.
Like, my eyes are sunken in. My skin is blotchy. I'm breaking out like crazy. All because of not having enough water.
There.
And sleep. Water and sleep. Oh, my gosh. I cannot stress how important... Like, one, just for health purposes.
100%.
And I'm discovering that more and more living in the city. Getting my sleep and my water is very important. So if you live in New York, you definitely need your water and sleep.
Yes. Everyone that's listening to this, take a drink of water right now. Everyone go do it. We're going to remind you in a little while as well.
Exactly. So I would say those two are the most important things. The third thing, either hire our makeup person that we have on staff, or go to Sephora or Ulta and get it done, or have a friend do some sort of makeup.
Heard.
And I am going to stress that to my male identifying folks.
Heard.
Y'all, if you come in barefaced, woo, photographers will not be very happy.
Heard.
Photographers will not be happy if there's nothing on there.
What should you be getting done when you are preparing this makeup, would you say?
I would say the the base, like the most basic thing. This is for male and female identifying and all of the above. Like, honestly, the purpose for makeup in a headshot scenario is very different than makeup of you going out. Is very different from makeup for you going to an audition or just being out and about. The studio lights and the lights that we use and the camera will pull out so many fine details, including like color imbalances and like splotchiness.
Gotcha.
And like unevenness and under eye bags. Makeup just evens everything out, and you're gonna help create less work for us in the retouching,
of course,
phase, and we highly appreciate that. But two, it's just gonna make your photos look better.
Great.
So getting makeup done, I cannot stress, and I was always told that by like my headshot mentor, if you will, how important makeup is. At the time I was like, okay, sure, whatever. Like, but I can just retouch. And then it happened to me enough times where I was like, oh, he was right.
Yeah.
He was 100% right. Same thing with like photography contracts too. Like, I discovered how important that was when I got into a little issue. And so I'm like, y'all, get your makeup done.
Do it.
It's just gonna serve you, don't if you're paying all this money, don't you want to get the best out of it?
100%. Y'all, it's tough when those bills keep adding up, but once again, the more you add up in that very initial thing, the less you're gonna have to do later, the longer 100%. It's gonna last, and the better it's gonna be.
It's gonna be worth it.
100%. It'd be like that, and it can be scary, but y'all, make the leap.
Absolutely.
When in doubt, make the leap.
Because it's not like it's like full glam, It's literally specific just for like studio lights. Get a little bit of contour, get a little bit of like a foundation on, or like even a powder. Guys, just put some powder on.
Heard.
Like ask your lady friends what powder is. That's it.
There you go.
That's all I need.
There you go. Now I feel like oftentimes, I mean, anyone that has an Instagram with actor friends will see that a lot of people are out there doing lifestyle shoots as well. When would you say those are necessary? Do you feel like that everyone needs to do that every time they get headshots? What's your stance on that? What do you see with that?
Honestly, lifestyle shoots are just a whole lot of fun.
Yeah.
Like you're just out and about, and you get to this is where you get to be you. This is where you get to bring the clothes that you want, and this is where you get to go frolic in a meadow if you want to, because that's what you like.
Yeah.
Or go to like a cool industrial place and be edgy, because that's what you like.
Yeah.
So I would say the lifestyle shoots are more of a luxury.
Heard.
But I will say, because casting is all over Instagram and social media now.
Yeah.
It is, as much as I hate to say it, very important what you post.
It is.
It is very, very important what you post on social media. I am now followed by a few very, well-known casting directors, and they're constantly looking at my stories and are liking my posts. And I'm like, okay, casting is watching.
Heard.
And if something's a little questionable, honestly,
–
or if you don't post enough. Like I remember it was like towards the end of the pandemic. A choreographer friend of mine wanted to hire my girlfriend at the time for it was the CNN New Year's Eve commercial with white hair.
Oh,
what's his name?
Anderson Cooper.
With Anderson Cooper.
Nice.
Yeah, it was in that, and actually my old roommate was actually in that before me and him met.
Wow.
But he didn't hire her because they weren't having auditions. They were just looking at social media.
Interesting.
She's fine. She's been on Broadway twice now, so she's doing great.
Of course.
But like at the time, she had nothing. And even when she booked her first Broadway show, I remember her telling me that the social media, or like the marketing team, were like, everyone needs to be posting more.
Yeah.
And specifically to her, they're like, you need to post more.
Yeah.
This is a Broadway marketing team.
It's
telling
crazy.
her that.
Yeah.
So, and me and her had done a bunch of shoots, so she reached out to me. We were broken up then, but she was like, hey, can you send me some of the photos that we ended up taking?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, here you go. I told you, by the way.
There you go.
I told you so.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, too. Like, when you're posting all that stuff, it is very nice when the things you're posting look very nice. So
that, too.
And, like,
it's all about aesthetic,
And you get how many pictures in a lifestyle shoot.
So many.
And they'll last you a lifetime.
And if you work with me, I overshoot, so you'll get a lot.
There you go.
You get all of them.
So, like, folks, I mean, yes, it's very fun and stuff, but also when the branding thing comes into perspective, like, that it's very useful. I'm not going to say it's mandatory. It's, like, is it important? Theoretically, yes, but it's very helpful, you know? So do what you can there. And, like, I don't know. It's also just fun.
It's a good time.
When you make a website, it's very useful to have for
correct.
a website. Once again, we'll be talking about all of that in a future episode. But yeah, so definitely consider that when you're looking into all your options. And once again, you're spending the pretty penny. Might as well spend a little bit more and do that.
And depending on the photographer, sometimes they can be like add-ons.
Yeah.
So they'll be a little bit cheaper than if you were to just get a headshot session and a lifestyle session. You know, like you could get a 3-look headshot session and then come back later and get a 3-look lifestyle, but that's going to cost you X amount of money.
Exactly.
Versus you get like their studio package with like 4 to 5 looks, and 2 of those looks are for headshots, or 3 of those you just kind of split it however you want.
For sure.
Usually photographers will work with you. You know, I know sometimes it can be scary because it's like our business and it's our, you know, livelihood, but in the end we are there to help you.
Yeah.
And we are there to be in service of you for your career. So I can't speak for all of my photographer colleagues, but with me, definitely, I will work with you.
Yeah.
100%.
There you go.
And I have done it.
Okay. So then the lovely question comes around of how frequently are you getting new headshots done?
Honestly,
what is the barometer for that, I would say, you know?
When you start to not look like your headshots, or when you start to not like them.
There you go. That's as simple as that, folks.
That's honestly the simplest answer. For me, I get headshots done for a second there was like once a year, because I guess I hit like my 3rd puberty.
Yeah.
And I just started changing rapidly. Like
Heard.
I just started looking more mature. Like I got some pre-hairspray tour. I got some post-hairspray tour, and then I did my own post-Tommy.
Gotcha.
And that's once a year.
Yeah.
Granted, you know, every single time I worked with my photographer friend, so I got it for free. It was and then I took my own, so it's very, very easy.
For sure.
Of me, but I did notice a difference in casting stuff.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't looking like myself in the previous headshots, so once I started to look more like me, I was getting seen more.
And yeah, that's that. I mean, it really is just do you look like it? Does that look like you? And also, folks, you should like your headshots. You should like them. You know?
You should be proud of them.
Absolutely. It should definitely bring something out in you that you often didn't know was there. And if you're not seeing that in your headshots, maybe refresh them, you know?
Correct.
Freshen them up, get some new ones, change the game, and do all that stuff. But especially if you do not look like your headshot, do something about it. You know, just do something about it, because it's just going to confuse the people behind the table, which is just going to, honestly, especially in these big calls and stuff, they don't have the time to be confused. They don't. It's just going to go right in the no pile, because they can't deal with that, you know? And once again, like, it is just also about being professional, you know? And once again, I'm not saying that you have to have the $1 million headshots. I'm just saying, just be aware of what you're presenting in your headshot as related to who you are, you know? It's also, you know what, folks, I'm going to shout out y'all out there who are constantly changing hair colors. It can also be tough for y'all. He's wagging
I'm
wagging
my finger, and I'm smiling right now, because I had multiple friends of mine be like, can you Photoshop my hair to look like my color now?
Interesting.
It's happened thrice.
Okay.
It's happened 3 times in the course of my career.
Heard.
No. The answer is no.
No.
I can't do that. And why don't you just come work with me?
Also that.
One of my friends was in Australia, she lives in Australia, so that was fine.
And if anyone's out there dyeing their hair, but also for folks out there who frequently wear wigs, if your hair frequently looks different because you are wearing wigs, bring your hair options, you know, bring that kind of stuff. Anything that you can do to authentically represent yourself in as many ways possible is awesome. That being said, not too much, folks. Don't bring thousands of things. You got limited time.
That's another thing. You have limited time, and we do stick to our times. That's one thing that you'll learn with photographers. If I'll say this during the next question. You continue.
Heard.
Yeah.
I think that was the end of my sentence.
Oh,
anyway.
Perfect.
Hit me with it.
So don't show up late, y'all.
No, you can't.
Don't. If we're gonna get into the do's and don'ts of this, don't show up late. Honestly, show up half an hour early to 45 minutes early and go hang in a coffee shop.
There you go.
Because, and especially my Jersey folks, I have taken New Jersey Transit so many times, and I know that it can sometimes be a little hectic.
Yeah.
Even my New York folks, my folks in Brooklyn and Queens.
Yeah.
It's annoying to get from there to my studio.
There you go.
In Hamilton Heights / Harlem. If you're going to my studio in Midtown, it's different. But
and you know what?
Just leave early and go hang out in a coffee shop. Because if you show up late, sometimes we have people after you.
Yeah.
Which means that we are going to be sticking to our time.
100%. It's just going to detract from your experience and what you get in the end, And also, this is just a call out. If you are a person who is late, you know it. You know it. Be proactive. This is the only time I'm ever going to tell you have to do that. Is this. That's not true. I might change my mind later on. But especially for this, just be proactive. Everyone I know is late, including myself. That also came because I was always the earliest to things and I got sick of it.
Me too. Oh my God, me too. I started doing that too.
Truly, I'm always the early friend.
I was early for this.
I get it. You were. I was actually really impressed. I'm not going to lie. That's the first time that's happened. But yeah, I mean, I get it from my dad. My dad needs to be at least 15 minutes, if not way earlier to anything. The airport 2 hours early at least.
That's me.
It's now it's interesting. Do you have TSA pre-check?
I do.
Oh no, Gabriel!
I get to the airport so early now, and when I was a kid, it was even worse. But I didn't get pre-check until college.
Yeah, I mean, I learned about that relatively recently. But let me tell you, now that I have TSA pre-check, I'm not showing up until an hour before.
Well, I had a very bad experience getting to. No, it wasn't because of pre-check. It was because a friend of mine woke up late, and we were leaving a contract, and the bus picked us up. But he woke up late, and he was the first person that the bus was picking up, and the bus waited for him.
No.
And didn't go get everyone else. They waited for his ass. And we showed up half an hour before our flight. We were totally going to make it, but they were like, United policy, we don't check bags.
Yeah.
Past half an hour till the flight. So it took me 24 hours to get back to New York.
That's so rough.
24
There you go, folks. No, you're late. Show up early. Also, if you're flying more than once a year, get TSA pre-check.
100%.
$80 for what?
So worth
5
it.
years?
For 5 years.
Amazing.
And nowadays, you don't even have to do the in-person background check anymore.
No. You breathe through security, folks. That's a pro tip.
Yeah.
That's just a free life advice.
Don't do clear.
I know
That's
nothing
the most annoying
about that.
thing. I don't really understand it. Just don't do it.
Yeah. And that's an official stance from this podcast.
It is.
You heard it here first. We don't know anything about it, and we say, don't do it. Any other must-dos or absolutely the F do nots?
When you're going into a headshot session, keep an open mind that the photographer does know what they're doing. And, we work with a lot of actors.
Yeah.
And I understand, if you have had a bad experience with a photographer in the past, that you come in a little guarded.
Yeah.
Because, maybe the photographer was a bad experience, and you expect this could be a bad experience. We can feel that kind of energy in a shoot, in a session. So always just come in with an open mind and just be kind.
Yeah.
Because if you're kind and cool, sometimes we give you a little extra in the session, whether it's an extra look or I've done this so many times where I'm just having a good time with the person that I'm like, oh hey, you know what? Can I experiment with some lighting stuff with you? And you can have these photos also. Yeah. And they're always like, oh, thank you so much. And then sometimes they'll pay for extra retouches, and it's great. So sometimes you'll get a little extra if you're cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's supposed to be a good time. Yeah. So
don't ask for anything extra because that's not cool.
When you're doing your research, and when I say research, I mean when you're on Instagram looking at different headshots from friends or different headshot photographers, suss out the vibe of the photos. If it looks like they're having a good time, they're probably having a good time, and that's a good sign. And go where you feel. I mean, it's weird to say seen the most when they're not seeing you yet, but go to the environments where you think you will feel most seen, you know?
Absolutely.
It's so important.
I would also always ask for recommendations than just going into a headshot session blindly.
Yes, absolutely.
Especially because photography is a very vulnerable art. And, sometimes it can feel not the most comfy.
Yeah.
There's just a lot happening at once.
100%.
And you always want to be as and that's definitely my goal, is just to make you feel as comfortable and safe as possible.
Yeah.
And just to make sure that you're having a good time.
Absolutely.
And that you feel the most open to express yourself as an actor and as a performer.
Yeah.
That should be the photographer's main goal.
Absolutely.
Not to use your headshot session as their own artistic experiment.
Yes.
Headshot sessions are there to serve you. Be confident enough to speak up and to say what you want out of the session. And it is our job to cater to that.
And listen, folks, it can be scary, especially when you're in New York or you're coming from out of state to New York. It's a completely different world. Once again, you just got to stand up for yourself. I think actually, you know what? This is another life advice. Anything that you are paying money for, any service, you have the right to speak up.
100%.
You know?
Oh yeah.
Don't be an asshole. But speak up for yourself, and especially in this situations that are serviced for you, make sure you're getting what you want out of it, especially when you're spending so much money, make sure you're helping curate that experience to the best of your ability, it's just gonna be the best for everyone around,
Exactly.
Yeah. That's kind of the rundown.
That would probably be all my biggest advice.
Yeah.
Of the things to do and the things to not do.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, folks, too, common sense is just so important in the industry and also so hard to find in the industry.
Yes.
So work on that and bring that 100%, 150% full force when you're doing this. But yeah, have fun. Be yourself. Drink water, everyone.
Drink
now.
water.
Take a second. Drink some more water.
Yes. Oh, there's number 2 right there.
We'll pause for you.
You know what? I'm gonna have.
Let's take a water break.
I'm gonna have some water now.
This is a sponsored water break. I'm gonna swallow, gulping into the mic.
Some ASMR right there.
And there we go.
Absolutely.
I feel like we nailed this.
Totally. Oh, you know what? There's just one more thing.
Just kidding. Say something.
It's another do.
Do.
Come in as prepared as possible.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is I would always say have your previous headshot on your phone or in your bag or whatever.
Yeah.
Just so we know what you don't want.
Yeah.
If you had something, obviously you're coming to us for a reason. If it's your first one, obviously we don't really have anything to go off of.
Yeah.
But come in as prepared as possible.
Bring some other people's headshots in that you like or don't like,
And I
Don't
guess...
be too shady, but...
100%. Ooh, I have had some shady
you did
people.
this headshot, and I don't like it. Make sure they're from other photographers, folks.
But yeah, being prepared, and this is not even for just headshots, but for portraits, I would always have an inspiration folder of stuff that speaks to you and, things that inspired you to maybe even want to do the shoot in the first place.
Yeah.
Always come in with character types that you are. What maybe actors that you closely relate to, or I like their career. I like
very important
what they've done. Shows, TV, movies, Broadway, not on Broadway. Always come in with the most. What am I trying to say?
The most preparation. It's preparation.
It's all preparation. Bring all the tools to come in.
It's a lot of it's self preparation. It's what can you do to convey yourself the best. I'm
gonna start adding this in my prep emails now. Come in with this.
Yeah, and listen to this podcast and
yes, absolutely,
and follow and download. Please, thank you, love you guys.
But yeah, that's probably all my advice right there.
Amazing. You heard it here first, folks. Headshots is, once again, it can be an expensive thing. It can be very daunting, but it is so rewarding.
Yes.
It can be so fun. And also, I don't know, it's cool to look at a picture of yourself and enjoy it, we all got our issues, we all got our demons, but this is such a great way to, I don't know, just feel confident in a new way. And I don't know, love yourself, folks.
Absolutely.
Always love yourself
Always
to the best
love
of your
yourself.
ability. And yeah, I think we nailed that.
We really did.
So yeah, go out there, get your headshots, start booking. Once again, we're your biggest supporters.
Absolutely.
And if you want to be our biggest supporters, you can find us on Patreon. Yes, folks, we are on Patreon per usual. And per usual disclaimer, we will not be gatekeeping any information on there. That is just for fun bonus content, silly stories. There's some good stuff on there. I'm not going to lie, especially to those who have been listening the past few weeks. There's some fun stuff on there. So feel free to check that out. Gabriel, where can folks find you if you would like to be found?
You can find me on Instagram at Gabriel Kearns _photography and GK_headshots. I have two Instagram photos right there. Also my website, GabrielKearnsPhotography.com, and you can book me through the contact page of my website.
Amazing. And folks, if y'all are in Missouri, yeah, if you're all in Missouri, go see Dreamgirls. And of course, folks, you can find us on most social media platforms at BA to Broadway. Go toss us a follow, leave some comments. If there's also anything else you want to hear from us, any subjects that you're curious about, any questions you have, shoot those in the comments. We'll be happy to answer them, hopefully in a future podcast. And yeah, once again, go drink some water, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye, everyone.